That's great. Well, thank you for being here. So now, this is what I would like to tell you, what you should expect from today. In today's workshop, as I said, you will come out understanding the main traits of greenwashing and what it is exactly. How can you discover if you are facing a potential supplier or situation which could be considered greenwashing? And if you are in doubt, what kind of questions to ask to clear up any doubt so that you can make an informed decision. Okay, that is what is most important here, is not so much condemning, but to put ourselves in a place where we are conscious of what we are doing. Sometimes we don't have a choice, but just so long as we know, so that we don't have to go back late and say, oh, but I thought. And then especially because of this, so because we want to be able to make conscious decisions, will then, as a consequence, be able to communicate in a clearer manner the projects which we are delivering, because often we cannot have a 100% perfect project, perfectly sustainable project. So we're going to have to make some compromises along the way. So if we know what we are buying and it is very clear, then when we have to make our decisions, we know exactly where we stand. So for anyone here who doesn't know me, my name is Odile. I am a professional buyer. I have been buying sustainably for over 30 years, buying and, of course, becoming more and more sustainable. I have always been very careful of how I buy, even many years before it became a thing. So discovering if, for example, things were not sociably acceptable, slavery or children workers, or waste which is not being properly processed and put into the systems. All these things have always been my attention. I created the Biophilic Hub about 1.5 years ago on the back of this, which is a community of people who want to become, who are interested in biophilia and are interested in particular in biophilic design and how spaces impact our health and that of the environment. And in our Biophilic Hub, it's a community where we wish to support you on this journey. Not only in talking about biophilic design, but also in delivering you tools and skills to understand and to recognize what is sustainable and what isn't sustainable, so that you can go about your journey, your biophilic journey, in a more confident manner. So as I said, the idea, the outcome for today is to underline the main traits of greenwashing and how we can uncover them. So we're going to start first. So first of all, let's understand what exactly is greenwashing and why it matters. So this is a brief presentation, and I would ask that there's going to be some examples halfway through and to the end if we want to do some role plays. But any questions, you can keep them to the end, and we will for sure come back to them. So let's understand, first of all, what is exactly greenwashing, because there's not quite it's not so obvious the definition. I mean, there isn't an official definition, although it is very clear. It comes down to saying when companies or organizations are misleading consumers into believing that their products or services are environmentally friendly or sustainable. And I would even go one step further to say that when we speak about sustainability, this will include sustainability at large, so not just environmentally friendly, but also socially sustainable for the people who are going to use the product and for the people who are involved in the production process of the product. So from the mining of the raw materials right through the working of them, okay? So omitting this can sometimes mean also social sustainability as well. And it comes down to misleading communication, full stop, okay? So why does this matter? Why does it matter to us as individuals and as professionals? Okay, so first of all, the extent to which greenwashing is present at the moment creates a distrust to the effect that when someone says that they are sustainable, you're not quite sure. Okay, so you automatically feel that, are we sure? So that's sustained and leads to mistrust. It can have a financial impact because maybe you're paying more than what you should. It's a matter of consumer awareness and can, in fact, have some legal ramifications. So these are the 6 sins which we are going to be looking at. It can be a hidden trade-off, no proof, fibbing, lying, something which is vague, communicating the lesser of 2 evils, and communicating things which are irrelevant. So these are the framework in which we would identify greenwashing and how we would start to feel dubious. So now we're going to have a look at them one by one. So the hidden trade-off is when products use claims like made from recycled content or even compostable, but in fact, they are very vague, first of all, and then they don't cover, or they are covering, so they are taking your attention to something which is not clear anyway, and taking it away from parts of their process which are in fact unsustainable. So I mentioned before social sustainability as well, and this is the case. This could be the case. Okay. So we know that bamboo is considered a sociable, a sustainable product, I beg your pardon. But bamboo, which is a reed and not a tree, however, can be grown in areas where they are exploiting the soil excessively, but also it can, and it often does, have unethical working conditions. A lot of bamboo comes from Southeast Asia. Not all companies have a social sustainability policy. So we're not sure of the working conditions of the people there. Some do, okay, so there are some good bamboo companies who are structured in such a way as to be ethical, but a lot aren't. Although we do consider bamboo a healthy material because it grows fast, because it's very flexible, because it can be used in a lot of areas in construction. So when I come, then of course there's the problem of the toxicity of chemicals they use to clean up bamboo, but that's something else. So when we talk about, when we find ourselves in a situation like this, like it's remade from recycled content, or it's compostable, it's a healthy material, it's bamboo, of course it's healthy. You can ask to have further details about the entire life cycle. So if you have any doubts about, well, are we quite sure? Yes, okay, it's a recycled product, but what happens along the line? So this is where they are highlighting one side and taking off the other. Another thing which we said was the proof and facts. So going back to what we already said, they say in the previous one of the bamboo, for example, made from recycled content, okay? But you can also come across some companies claiming that they're environmentally friendly, but they're not telling you, for example, how much, okay, is how much of the products that they have claimed are in fact made from recycled materials. So there's a big claim, recycled materials, and then we find out it's only about 5%. And the rest of it is made from virgin high carbon emission materials. So maybe that's not such a good issue. And then, of course, if this is made, this is very important, if these maids are made on a packaging without an indication of a certification of a third party, then these can be empty or false. So a lot of companies do their own certifications, okay? And they create a nice logo with a leaf, with a tree, etc., etc. But there's a saying in Italian, which says, each child is beautiful to their own mother, okay? So that means that if I am giving a valuation to my own product, that's clearly going to be biased. So if they don't have hard facts and proof upon a specific, ask the question. Ask them outright. They say they put a nice logo on it. It's made from recycled materials. So, oh, really? Oh, that's good. Do you have a certification? And who's certified it? So you can, when you say things are a bit, where's the numbers? And it comes down to the same as this one, the vague statements. It's sustainable or all natural or eco-friendly. These are very much marketing terms. And it will draw your attention because eco-friendly, a green leaf on the thing will draw your attention. But then we really got to step back and be specific, even more than the other one, because the other one said, for example, they can't give you the facts. But here they're just saying sustainable or eco-friendly, all natural. I said, but what does it actually mean? What are the standards which you are abiding by with this statement? What do you mean it's eco-friendly? It could be just the packaging, or they can tell you, oh no, but the cotton is eco-friendly. And then you will go and say, really? And where's the certification? So it's a continuous conversation. Sometimes they don't always, they focus on different elements. So these sins can be combined one on top of the other, but they usually start with one of the elements. Like, for example, in this case, this is quite naughty, to tell you the truth, because they are in fact very much playing on the fact that a lot of normal people, when you go out and do your shopping, you're not obliged to know all the chemicals that have been banned by law. So they try and use these complicated words. In this case, for example, it could be CFC free, that's chlorofluorinated carbons free. But this has been banned since the 1970s. So unless you know this, you think, oh gosh, they're good, they're being careful to keep this out. Like, for example, lead or asbestos. Oh, there's no asbestos in this, but you can't put asbestos in it anyway. You can't put lead in your plumbing anymore for years now. So it's not a plus. It's the minimum required by law. So you can ask the question. If you know, you can ask the question specifically. If you're not sure, if they say, make a statement, oh, but this hasn't got, then ask the question. What does the environmentally claim contribute to your sustainability position? The lesser of the two evils. This is often used, very often, where they make a claim, even when the product they are offering has a minimal environmental benefit to begin with. For example, the automotive industry is a great example of this. Yes, cars is great here. As many car companies that claim that their vehicles utilize more fuel-efficient technology than their competitors. While these claims can be true, they should never overshadow the fact that every gas-powered car produces significant emissions and pollutions every year. So it is crucial to remember that being the lesser of two evils does not suddenly make a company or individual a force of good. So you can't use this directly, or in many countries, you can't use this directly in advertising because it's illegal to compare two brands together. But if I say I am greener than another competitor, doesn't necessarily mean that you are. For example, if you have, you says, oh, but I am locally sourced wood, in case it, for a furniture, locally sourced wood. Yes, but if you're locally sourced wood with respect to your competitor, which has bought in his wood, I know, from South America, if your locally sourced wood is not certified and does not come from a managed forest, you are just as bad, if not maybe even worse, because not necessarily having things done closer to home, which we are very much inclined to nowadays, because we say we want to support the local communities. So we're very much inclined to say, let's support and buy locally. But if buying locally implies toxic materials, not certified, not managed in case of wood from forests, then it can be even worse. So you've got to understand what the alternative product is and which of the two is in fact truly a better option, because they both be bad. And then of course we have the lying. The lying is lying, and there's no two ways about it. I mean, I think I believe in the UK you have the Consumer Protection Act, and there's something similar in the UK. Of course, you cannot lie. It's deceptive. And yet, a lot of advertisings do when they come to their environmental and sustainability claims. So companies have seen that saying that they are green will attract attention. Sometimes they may openly say, oh, I've got the certification. And often they don't. So it's happened to me more than once in my buying career, where I asked them for the certification or for a certain certification, which I may require in that moment. And they say, yes, of course we have it. And when I say, okay, great, well, can you, send me over a copy? At that point, they may have had it in the past. And sometimes because it costs to get yourself certified, and it may be not valid anymore, or they simply don't have it, or have an in-house certification process, which is not exactly the official third-party certification which you are looking for. And they will say, oh, well, it's the same. It's not the same. Okay. So asking for transparency and digging in to understand more is your right. Absolutely. And they will lie. Okay. They will lie because a lot of them won't think that you will actually ask for the evidence. And finally, the last one is about the labels. And we touched on that just a minute ago, because labels it's like speaking echo or green, but it's even stronger because labels is visual. Okay. And we know that a visual impact is much higher. So when we have false labels, which consists, for example, of badges, certifications, internal certifications, which are completely irrelevant to the product, okay? And they draw their own, little logo, and you think, oh, it's got a logo. Maybe I don't know it. Maybe it is a certification. I don't want to sound ignorant, because they will say, oh, can't you see there's the logo? This is it. And so you've got to resist, okay? That it's almost as if they're shaming you, saying, don't you understand? You've got to feel strong and say, I've never seen this certification before. Can you show me the details? And they will show you, here it is. I said, no, I want to see it, And then it'll come out that probably it's an internal certification, which is not the same, as I said, of external ones, third-party ones. So the proliferation of these labels has come to such an extent that it has become a problem, okay? And this often translates into companies displaying various labels to vouch for sustainability. This also causes unfair competition for those who rely on third-party verification standards. So, as I said, third-party verification standards does cost money, okay? And if you don't have it, if the company doesn't have it, it's better for them to say, we don't have an external verification, but we have a system, okay, whereby we verify the quality of our products, and they can show you everything they do. But rather than them putting a little leaf on their product and saying that it is a verification, when in fact it is in-house. Of course, you must be able to recognize those hazardous materials which are required by law to be highlighted. So to avoid this, in 1992, EU Ecolabel is the official voluntary label for environmental excellence of the products in the EU, demonstrating top performance. So it's a voluntary label. You don't have to pay for it, or you don't have to pay for enormous quantities. And it has set regulation. So you have a parameter. The parameter isn't made up by the company who is actually attaching the label to it. So in absence of FC, FSC, GOTS, whatever, Green Guard, etc., if you have an eco label, at least you know that they have set themselves some parameters which are readable worldwide. Now,